So today we just got served a ton of information relating to Black Ops 4's BlackOut, and honestly it's just so crazy how out of nowhere, just think yesterday we knew almost nothing about BlackOut, but then out of nowhere today we get dropped a ton of information relating to probably every single aspect about BlackOut, and it's a little bit crazy, and of course I want to be trying to go over all of it. And the thing is, I was actually making a video earlier today just talking about the information then, but slowly throughout the day we got more and more information, so good thing I waited on this video. Not actually I waited, something came up, but good thing I actually didn't make the video right away, because I wouldn't have talked about everything. I want to share the information with everybody right away. But of course I gotta mention this right away, most if not all of this information is all coming from Game Informer, so complete credit to them. And if you guys want to see the articles in their full, then go ahead, check down the descriptions, and I'll link hopefully all of them, or at least all of them that I can find. And so that's it. But one other thing I want to mention is that normally in these videos I would really just mention and explain what's going on with some news thing, like something that popped up, like let's use for example a player count. Then I would say what I think about it, but I'm not going to do this here because there's just so much information. I just want to share the information right away, then right after that, and once we're done sharing all the information, I'll jump back to the things I want to talk about and just tell you what I'm thinking about it after, because there's just so much to talk about here. I just want to really focus on mainly what the news is first, and then after that to my opinion, because there's just so much here. But anyways, I'm taking way too long to start this video, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. So let's start off with the biggest piece of information, and that's a player count. And it looks like, at least in the beta for BlackOut, it's going to be 80 players inside a single match of BlackOut, which is something that I didn't really see anybody expect. Anyways, no, I'm getting off track. Remember, this is only for the information. So it's going to be 80 players, but of course based on player feedback this is going to change. Another thing Dan Bunty said when he was asked about this is that it has hit 100 players before, but they felt like the pacing was off inside the 100 players compared to 80 players, so that's the reason they set with 80 players. So that's at least what they're saying, but of course I'll come back to this in a little bit. Next thing they talked about, or one of the many next things that were talked about today, is that there will be zombies inside BlackOut. We already knew this, but we got some new information about this, because the zombies will only be in some areas of the map. They won't be everywhere, just in some areas. And something that we actually learned that was very new about them is that killing these zombies will let them drop loot, and the loot will be zombie related loot, like things like ray guns and monkey bombs. So that is interesting. But next thing I want to talk about is the vehicles that are going to be available inside this map. So there's going to be 2 land vehicles, 1 sea vehicle, that's what they're called, and then after that 1 air vehicle. Now this isn't final, this is just for the beta, keep this in mind. So there's probably going to be added more by launch, and if there's not, they're still going to add more because they've already hinted at this. But anyways, for now you have a cargo truck which holds 1 driver and 4 passengers. You have an ATV that holds 1 driver and 1 passenger. You have a Zodiac inflatable boat which holds 1 pilot and 1 passenger. Then you have a Little Bird helicopter which holds 1 pilot and 4 passenger. After that, YouTubers were actually sent out some teaser images of the BlackOut map, and this is just an overlook on the BlackOut map, and they're sent different sections of the map. So I imagine throughout the days we're actually going to get a full image of the whole BlackOut map before it actually launches, which is in 6 days. So we're going to probably see a full picture of this map from overhead by putting a bunch of pictures together, and I can't wait to see how this map is going to look in its entirety. But after that, we actually have perks confirmed to be inside BlackOut, and the perks are going to work a little bit different because they're going to be consumable perks, and the only thing I can assume by them calling them consumable perks is that they're going to be found around the map just like normal loot, which was to be expected. But there's a lot of different ones, but for the ones that are unique only to BlackOut, I'll read those ones off and just leave the other ones away for a little bit. But the first one we have is Paranoia. Gives an audio alert when you're being targeted by the enemy. Then you have Scholar, which lets you move faster while crouched or prone. Then you have Stimulant, which increases your max health by 100 points. Then you have Outlander, reduces damage from the circle and increases speed, sprint speed, or just speed in general, never mind, increases speed while taking damage from the circle. Then you have Looter, which reveals nearby stashes and items. After that, you have Iron Lungs, which lets you hold your breath longer while shooting snipers, rifles, or diving underwater. And finally, we have Consumer, which reduces the amount of time it takes to use items, heal, or revive teammates by 20%. So those are all interesting, and we'll come back to them when I talk about my thoughts of everything. Next thing we have is something very interesting, and it's a list of all the known map locations, of course, according to Game Informer, which have already played the game and have 2 hours of footage on them. But I'll be reading off all the different locations, but for the most part, we only have a name, but not a really good description of what these areas are going to be like. They have descriptions for 2 areas, but that's about it. So I'll read them all off, but of course, mainly we're just going to have names. So the first one we have is Estate. In the richest neighborhood, it has a giant helipad where the little bird helicopter can spawn. A good location if you want a shot at getting the helicopter early on. Next we have is Construction Sites, which is an unfinished skyscraper that has a ton of loot and opportunities to base jump out of high areas to safety if things get hot. Now after this, we only have names for the area, so no description, so I'll just read through them real quick. So first we have Array, then we have Nuketown Island, after that we have Firing Range, we have Hydrodrome, Asylum, Cargo Docks, Factory, Fracking Tower, Turbine, and finally River Tower. Or excuse me, River Town. And that's it for all of the known areas, at least from Game Informer. But for the final piece of information, I know there's a couple other things that I've left out, but these are the major ones. But the final piece of information is that BlackOut will feature over 20 characters as of now. Of course, that means during the beta. And the characters are unlocked via missions and in-game challenges. Okay, so that's about it for the news of this and just the information that we have. So now we're going to jump over to just my thoughts on all the different things inside of this. So if you were only here for the news, feel free to click off. But if you guys want to hear my thoughts on it, gonna go ahead and stay on. So what we're going to do, we're going to start right at that last one. So that last one said that you're going to have 20 different characters that are unlocked via missions and in-game challenges, which is something I'm liking to hear because I thought I was going to have to pay for Richtofen or Dempsey or Nikolai or well, probably wasn't going to buy Takio, but regardless, I'm really grateful because I'm just thinking that we're probably going to have those zombies characters as just unlocking by playing the game, which I'm really grateful for because I really wanted to play as Richtofen, and I can only hope that Richtofen's still going to have his quotes and voice lines still, because if he doesn't, I mean, is there really a reason to play as him without having his voice lines and stuff like that? But I'm just really glad to see that they're probably not all going to be exclusively paid for, and you can just work in-game challenges and stuff like that. So that's something I'm really grateful and really looking forward to. Now what we're going to jump back up to the top because I want to talk about this big one, and that's the player count, because like I said, it's at 80 currently, but it, of course, according to Dan Bunting, excuse me, he actually said that they can go to 100, but for pacing reasons they wanted it to go to 80, and that could be true, that could be false. It just really nobody actually knows except Dan Bunting, so currently you could believe whatever you want. I don't actually care. But assuming this is true, my main concern with this is that if they do, or if they are able to hit 100 players, my concern is that everybody's going to complain and say, hey, let's jump up to 100 player like the industry standard or this industry standard. And it's just, if that really throws off the pacing like Dan Bunting thinks it does, that is worrisome, because I mean, who wants to play something with bad pacing? I don't think much of anybody really does. But as for the zombies, I really do like how these zombies work, because this is exactly how I wanted them to work. I wanted them to only be in certain areas of the maps, and in those areas are where the zombies loot can be found. And of course, you're going to be aware of that going in. So you have to know that inside this area, not only do you have to worry about other players, but you also have to worry about environmental hazards, that being the zombies. And I really like how the zombies are going to be implemented. I hope they're not only going to be in like 1 or 2 areas. I hope they're going to be not that often, but in more areas than not. Well, not true actually. I think they should be rare, but not too rare, in other words. But I'm really liking how these zombies seem like they're going to be working. But anyways, for the perks that you're going to get these consumable perks, I really am liking how they're making some specifically tailor-made perks for BlackOut, like this one right here, Outlander, reduces damage from the circle and increases speed while taking damage from the circle. That's just so cool and just works just perfect, because imagine how you could use that just to strategize and just to flank people sometimes, where they think, oh, the circle's behind me, I should be safe, and then boom, you just go and mess them up good by coming and flanking them like a beast or something. I was going to say something else, but that's not. But regardless, I really like how these are made. Also, Looter is also pretty cool. I mean, seems a little overpowered, reveals nearby stashes and locations and items. So I mean, that sounds really cool, but then you have to remember you're probably going to have to loot for this in the first place. So first you have to loot and find it, then you're kind of get easy mode after that, which I think is fair. Another one that I think is also quite interesting is the the stimulant that says increase your max health by 100 points. So this is different from armor, because we do already know there's going to be armor with 3 different tiers in this. It was already mentioned, I think, a few weeks back. I'm not exactly sure. So that is already its own thing, armor its own thing, but it looks like this is going to increase your health by 100 points. So what that means is that when you get damaged those 100 points, you could heal back up to those 100 points. So it's not like armor, when it just breaks, you can't use it anymore. And I really find this quite interesting. So hopefully they're not bullet sponges, that's all I'll say. So hopefully not too big of bullet sponges. So anyways, for map locations, the most interesting ones to me is construction site, because the skyscraper's there and I really want to explore the skyscraper area. Probably the second place I'm going to go to after I play the map for the first time. Then another area I want to bring to your attention, or just want to talk about, is Nuketown Island, because this seems like the leaks were correct, and Nuketown is probably going to be an island in the center of the map, where it's probably going to be a lot of the time where the last stand's going to be with everybody else. And I do like the idea of it, especially based on the teaser, because it looks like there's underground areas by Nuketown, and I'm really liking that, and I really hope there's more things like that. In fact, if you guys noticed during the what's it called, just the images that hopefully I'll have on screen currently, just going through them and that stuff, but there's areas where there's just big puddles of water. Puddles isn't the right word, but like lakes and rivers of water, and then there's mountains right next to them. And what that really has me hopeful for are these cavern areas that you could go under these hills and mountains and stuff like that. I'm really hoping for stuff like that, just cavern areas where you can take your boat through them and just stuff like that. It really does catch my attention. I'm really hoping that's the case. That's just one thing I'm really hoping for. But anyways, continuing with the map locations, we have firing range, which is interesting and stuff, but I mean, not much to say about it. Just which firing range are they going to use? Are they going to use a Black Ops 2, or Black Ops 4 version of it? We'll just have to wait to see. Next one I want to talk about is Asylum, and most people will already know that this is Verrucht, and that's probably where we're going to be one location for the zombies are going to be. So what's interesting is that Verrucht was originally a multiplayer map called Asylum, so I'm kind of concerned that they're going to go with the multiplayer version of the map instead of the zombies version of the map. That's the only concern I have, but I don't think they'll do that. I mean, they have to pay homage to zombies some way or another. But one thing that you'll notice that I'll come back to in a little bit after going through the rest of these, but it does really concern me. But next one we have is cargo docks. Guess what that's going to be? Cargo. Oh, who would have guessed that? I'm a genius, figured it out. But anyways, really there's nothing else I want to bring up except turbine, because we do have an image of it. Hopefully I'll have it on screen, unless I forget that you're going to be seeing nothing or just something else instead. But there's an image that actually shows this turbine area, and one thing I really like about this is that yes, it looks like turbine, but it is different, because in the original turbine you have a collapsed turbine just in the middle of the map, and then also the bridge in turbine had a collapsed side and a side like that. That makes sense, yeah, like that, and you could just climb up and down, all that stuff. But this time it's just going to be a bridge with no collapsed turbine. So I'm really looking forward to how they're going to be changing to fit the environment, all these multiplayer maps and zombies maps that are going to be integrated into BlackOut. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to. But one thing I have a huge concern for is that I'm only seeing one zombie map. Like, besides Asylum, what else could you say could be a zombies map? Array? What could Array be? What could Factory? Maybe Factory. I mean, there's a lot of factories. You could say Derize because it's a factory too, but I don't know. I'm really concerned that we're not going to have that many zombies areas, and that's my main concern, because again, like I said earlier, I want them to be rare, but not too rare. I still want to find multiple areas where there's zombies. If you ask me, I think there should be three areas with zombies in it, but I don't know. It doesn't look like that's what they are doing doing here, unfortunately. But hopefully there'll be more areas with zombies. Hopefully Verrückt isn't our only zombies location, because I mean, I think zombies is a bigger part of the BlackOut or Black Ops history, which they've been talking about so much. So I mean, I hope there's something, dude. I really hope there's more than just Verrückt. But anyways, that's it for my thoughts and the news of everything that's gone down today. But I would love to hear what you guys are thinking about it. Are you guys liking what you're hearing? You guys disliking what you're hearing? Go and tell me what that is and why exactly you think that down in the comments. But if you guys did enjoy the video, go ahead, do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and especially bell. But I'm gonna go, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream or video.